Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is the show all about farmers markets. Whether you're a new or experienced farmers market manager, farmer, or a food producer selling at farmers markets, this is the podcast for you. Hi, I'm one of your hosts, Brijet Myers. I have spent many years as an on-site farmers market manager, and I have done it all from pulling permits to social media marketing. And I also help coordinate Intense, the farmers market conference.
And I'm Cat Fields-White, also an active farmers market manager here in Southern California, director of San Diego markets, doing all the things market managers do, popping tents, hauling barricades, and curating farmers markets. And I'm the founder of the Farmers Market Pros, providing education and an annual conference for farmers market participants.
And welcome back to Tent Talk. This time of the year, markets in some parts of the country are getting ready to close for the season. What's that? A season? Seasonal marketing. We don't have those in San Diego.
We don't have those. We're just kind of a year-round. We just keep going.
Yes.
We just keep going. I'm always curious about how people manage this that get to start and stop.
Yeah. Well, I used to say we don't get a break, but then I was educated at the conference by some of our managers who have seasonal markets that are like, it's not a break.
It's not a break. That's like saying we only work one day a week, right?
I know. I should know better. They stay very busy during their off season.
Right.
Not during their break, during their off season.
Right.
Either with other jobs or working diligently to get prepared for when their market does open.
Yeah.
So we're wondering, like, how do you celebrate your market season coming to a close? Do you do a vendor party?
We do a vendor party.
Yeah, we do.
We don't close, but we do a vendor party every year.
Yeah.
Kind of keeps people pumped up. I remember the first time we did that. Actually, the first time we gave like a thank you card and then a T-shirt to each vendor. And they were all like, oh my God, I've been at some markets for 10 years. This was our first or second year. And they were like so amazed because they'd been at a market for 10 years that nobody had ever given them a Christmas card or a T-shirt.
Oh.
Yeah, so
they're very appreciative of that.
they are. We're always amazed how excited our farmers and vendors are when we do a little thing. So we do an annual vendor party. So yeah, I'm wondering if you're closing your market for the season, do you do like a big closing day, kind of like a grand opening? Do you do a grand closing, invite your customers out and tell them to, celebrate that we've had a great year and give them some kind of reminder to hold on through and treasure through the winter to remind them to go back in the spring?
Like a fridge magnet or something. Like opening day is April, whatever.
Start counting down now.
Yeah, to put this countdown in your phone. Yeah, so with our vendor party, just because this is educational, and someone asked me, how do you do a vendor party? Just logistically. So we send out an invitation to our vendors and farmers that participate in our markets, all three markets. And then we usually schedule it for after our big Saturday market, and we rent or, someone in the neighborhood hosts us, just any kind of space. You don't have to get too fancy, just kind of like a meeting space. Because
Remember, we thought we should get a little fancier.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at like a hotel space nearby. There was a rooftop with a view. And our farmers and vendors pretty much said, nah, let's go back to the Firehouse Museum. That's where we do ours. Because, it's comfortable. It's got a kitchen. There's an indoor and outdoor space. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I like the indoor space because it's really like dark in there. There's comfy chairs because you're working because we do it directly after our long market. It's because everyone's there already.
Right.
So we don't have to be like,
drive in from your farm for a party. Who wants to do that?
Exactly, because these vendors and farmers are coming from all over. So while they're already in the city at the market, we say just stay a few hours afterwards, and everyone is like beat. We're all tired. We're in our like schlubby market
We're sweaty and
but
dirty.
It's so fun. We just provide food. Sometimes we do a potluck. Sometimes we did like a lamb that we had one of our barbecue. We got a rancher to give us a lamb, and then the barbecue guy roasted it for us, so we ate that. Sometimes we just order pizza. Do whatever you can do. The vendors and farmers don't care. They just want to get want to get together and
something
socialize.
to eat at the end of a long day. You want to have some kind of food. We do adult beverages, which always seems to be appreciated. And they get to talk to each other. So we're in a pretty big market. If you're in a really teeny market, I think it might not be quite as important, but in a large market, mid-sized to large market, when you're busy all day, your folks are in their booths all day, and they don't actually get to talk to somebody who's down at the other end of the block.
They don't ever even know who's down there.
Right.
Some people come down, they're like, this restroom had a long line, so I came down to this restroom that was a little bit further down and like, who are these people down here?
Right, yeah,
Because
exactly.
they're just busy and in their booth all the time.
So it's really cool for them to get to talk to each other and, just kind of chat about, how do you break down your booth more easily? How do you, I saw your display when I walked by on the way this morning, and how do you do that? How do you do those high-low displays? And much more casual things. How are you dealing with your teenager that's out of control? It just gives you a chance to talk to each other.
Yeah, just chit chat and
We're a big family.
Yeah,
we should all know each other face to face.
We're a fam. We are going to do an episode soon about like vendor relations, like as market managers, like how deep do you take that relationship? So it's like, okay, you don't want to be like best friends with all your vendors because then they start asking for special privileges and all that usual stuff. But at
you
the same
can't complain to me about being late. We're buds.
We're friends. Yeah. Separate topic. But I think that the appreciation part, and then you don't want to like, I know this sounds bad that like you don't want to appreciate them too much. That's not really what I mean. But like you don't want to be like, thank you for coming to the market. Oh, we couldn't do the market without you, because then they get all a little arrogant about it. Like your market would be nothing without me, So it's a fine line.
And of course it wouldn't. It would be nothing without them.
Of course.
But on an individual basis, yes, still part of the whole group. There's
so
a lot
it's a
going on
balancing
here.
that. And
That's
as a vendor or farmer in your relationship with your market manager, right? So like, are we your boss? Are we your landlord? Not really either, but a little bit of both. And so, anyways,
we're all friends and family, but just like your family, some days you're not going to get along.
Exactly. So the party is a nice way to just be like, hey, we all do this job together. It's hard. We all got up at 5, 4, 3 a.m. to do this, and we do it every Saturday. So like, let's have some pizza and a beer and just hang out.
Just
like,
relax.
Everyone just chill
Remember
out.
that outside of the market, we're still people.
Yeah.
Even if we're cranking at each other about who's in whose space and this and that, we still all like each other really at the end of the day. Yeah. We're all in this together.
It's a very valuable thing to remind people that like, hey, we're all in this together. Let's help each other. Let's be professional and let's be mildly friends.
Somebody on our board said, oh, you should open that up to the public and make it like so that they could get to know the farmers better. And we're like, no.
N-O.
That's not what this is about. That's not a bad idea. I see people doing, dinners at the market, their fundraisers and that kind of thing. It's awesome. But what's special about the Farmer and Vendor Party is there are no customers. We don't have to be on best behavior. Maybe there's a little kvetching about customers asking for discounts or not being reasonable.
The chronic sampler guy.
The chronic sampler guy, yeah. So these are things that we get to talk about away from the customers. Yeah. Just that one day a year.
Just the one day. And it's really great. And I think that good, warm, fuzzy feeling that they get there, it does last all year. It really does. Nice. They appreciate us. We appreciate them. It's just, we lay it all out there.
Yeah, so it's cool.
It's a really good benefit. And
we do a little door prize thing.
Yeah.
They look forward to that. We usually give them something fun. Yeah. A T-shirt or something that says name of the market on it so they can wear that to other markets.
The most coveted door prize is, of course, the free month's rent.
Free rent for a month at your stall. That does. Everybody's always excited about that one.
Hot button. And we always hope it's not like the Thai food guy who pays so much for his
That's
huge
the really,
booth.
really big booth. Yeah, exactly. You're not eligible for that this year. I'm sorry.
So sorry.
Not kidding. Just kidding.
No, but anyone can win it. And they always just appreciate that. And just like little stuff like $20 gift card to like the local ice cream shop. So like they win that and they can finish up their long day at the market, grab some ice cream on their way home. I mean, just it just makes them feel great.
Yeah, it's just fun. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to get a little goodie.
Yeah, we like it.
Yeah. So the party and closing day, that's a thing. What we're really talking about this week is planning and budgeting. I feel like we've gone off the rails.
So many topics to cover. Get back on track.
But a lot of people do planning and budgeting and that kind of thing in this off season. Now, obviously not everybody's closing. Many of us have year-round markets. Some folks are planning right now to either move their market indoors for the winter or, our friends in Arizona and Texas, Megan over in Palm Springs is moving her markets outdoors in October. So they have to make a plan for that. Everything changes. You got to change your map. You got to get that social media and stuff out there and let the customers know where you're going to be. So it's a transition time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then while especially if you're a seasonal market, but for all of us, this time of year is a time that we want to do a little strategic planning for next year, look at your budget. Mm-hmm. If you're wrapping up your budget from last year, this is a really good time to look at, did your budget numbers come in as you had planned, or was there a big variation in what you thought you'd spend and what you did spend, or what you thought you'd take in and what you did take in? So that's what everybody needs to be doing right now coming up to the first of the year and in the off heavy-duty market scheduled season for some people, especially, but even our year-round folks, we got to be thinking about what's coming up next year.
Yeah, or just the fall in general is a good time to look at stuff because you might have like holiday events coming up.
That too.
So a lot of our vendors, they do holiday events, or we as market manager, we do some additional events, not farmers markets, but we do with our vendors
gift events,
holiday
holiday
gift events,
pop-ups, tree lightings, that kind of thing.
so it's a good time to kind of like do a quick evaluation at least and say, what's my goal for those events? How am I going to get those? And then when are you going to check back in with yourself? Either at the end of the holiday season, right before your markets open up again, put a date on the calendar. When are you going to look at your numbers again?
Right.
So check in and just always be looking at your numbers. I'm always telling vendors that like, oh, I don't know if this is working. And I'm like, well, what are your numbers telling you?
Right.
And they're like, oh, I had numbers when I started, and then I don't know. I'm like, how are you filling in those boxes?
Right. Got busy and stopped paying attention, and that's what'll get you in trouble. It'll sneak up on you, so you want to be doing that every single week.
For sure.
Yeah, so planning and budgeting is good while we're making a lot of other changes.
Yeah.
Speaking of changes, just to go off the rails again. Sorry. Do you know that's how a lot of markets this time of year, if they're not closing for the season, they're changing hours?
Yes.
I want somebody listening out there to explain to me why this makes any sense. So say you've got an afternoon evening market and you're open from 2 to 7 in the summer.
Yeah.
And then it gets to be wintertime and it's getting dark earlier. I guess this is the rationale. Now you're going to be open from, say, 2 to 6. How does that help you? It's dark at 5, right?
The sun sets well before 7 or 6.
Right, yeah. So it's not like you're changing the hours so that you only operate in the daylight, because you don't really accomplish that.
Yeah.
It's not like people have more time on their hands so they don't need to shop until later in the evening during the school year. Aren't they doing more stuff? Maybe they have to take kids to soccer and then come shop. Seems like we should almost get later in the winter.
More hours.
Yeah. But I see this happen a lot. We get to shorter hours in the winter time. So if there's somebody listening out, do you know why, Brijet?
Oh, you know how I feel about this. I don't like
retail
any
hours should never change.
I don't like any hours to change. If you have a retail store or a restaurant, it's like Monday our hours are 8 to noon, Tuesday 8 to 12:30. Wednesday, we're closed. Thursday, I'm not going to your shop or your restaurant. I will not go.
Who has the brain power to remember all that?
I can't.
Just tell me when you're open so I can lodge it in my brain.
And especially if it's like a half an hour, an hour off. Why? Why? Because just implant your hours in your customers' brains.
Right. Yeah. So because so many people do it, if there is a good rationale out there, I want you all to jump on email. And I want you to send me a note at connect@farmersmarketpros.com, and we will come back to this in a future episode. Tell me what the rationale is for shorter hours in the winter.
We're going to read your answers. And we're going to learn something, I think.
Yeah,
because there has to be a
reason.
Or maybe people are just doing it because
everybody else does it?
Yeah. That's a reason, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, anyway, so that when we were talking about taking that little break between seasons and seasons changing and the changes that you make when the seasons change, that came up. And I just want to put that out there because I've been baffled by that for so long.
Because I get like the sunlight thing, like when daylight savings changes. But if you don't change your hours to like close before the sun sets, if you're still closing after sunset,
I just don't get it.
I just keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Anyways.
The lights and all that. So anyway, but what other kind of things are happening during season change? We see board retreats. A lot of times, so people that are dealing with board of directors, a lot of times this is a good time to put your board of directors in a room for a solid 3 or 4 hours and really talk about what are our goals, what are we aiming at, remind ourselves what's our mission here, what are we trying to accomplish by having this market.
Yep.
Is this supposed to be a fundraiser for a community organization? Is this just the pure, let's make sure farmers make more money because they're selling at farmers markets and not losing that margin to the wholesalers? Is it the community needs a place to gather? So figure out what your basic mission is. And maybe it's changed since you started. So, look at your original mission. Does that need to be adjusted? Have we drifted away? That is still our mission, but we've drifted away from it, that kind of thing. So this is a good time of year for a retreat. Whether it's your board or just your staff at your farmer's market, this is a good time to kind of reconsider everything. We talked about looking at what our budget was last year versus what we thought it was going to be. So those are good numbers that you can use to now do intelligent projections for next year. So what do you think you're going to bring in next year? Are you going to have more vendors? Have you seen vendors leaving? Has your traffic increased a lot where your overhead's also increasing because your insurance is going up with higher traffic and you need more traffic control? And so do your booth fees need to go up? This is the time that you want to be figuring all of that stuff out.
Yeah, how are you going to do retention, current farmers and vendors, how are you going to go out and get new farmers and vendors for the next year? Or if you are a farmer and vendor, evaluate your market schedule.
Exactly.
Are the markets that you're in working for you? Is there a market that you've been trying to get into? Can you check back in with that? Can you make adjustments to your products so you can get into a bigger differentiation of events or farmers markets? So take a look at what can be changed so you can reach your goals. And backing up, what are your goals?
Right.
What are and it's good to evaluate every single, once a month or every 6 months. But yeah, doing a big yearly regroup, I think is important.
Yeah. What are your goals for doing the farmers market? Does the farmers market support your online sales? Is the farmers market the only way you're selling? Are you hoping to meet restaurateurs at the farmers market so you can start doing some restaurant sales as an additional income stream? Yeah. So figure out what your goals are to be there. Most of our vendors and farmers are at our market because that's a good source of income. It's that whole thing where you hold the much larger percentage of the retail price. But we do have a few farmers and vendors where their big sales is at a brick and mortar that they're in, or doing catering or something like that. And really, the farmers market is a really nice form of doing marketing for their business. That's the big focus of their business, and still having an income stream while they're marketing.
Yeah,
so
which is also a great
there's all kinds of reasonable, legitimate goals, but you need to remember what yours are and make sure that everything that you do is pushing you towards that goal.
And if you're feeling stagnant in some kind of goal that you have, maybe take a look at what else you can do. Ask your fellow vendors and farmers. Ask your market manager, what are some other ways I can kind of propel my income stream forward? We have a microgreen vendor at one of our markets, and she told me I had a goal of getting at least 2 vendors to use my microgreens in their prepared food booth this year, and she got them. So it's like, and she's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm already here at the market. It's not adding time to my space. I just made a relationship with them. I reached out to them.
Smart.
And said, hey, I noticed you have avocado toast. Do you think you want to use my microgreens on there? I'm already here. We're at the same markets a couple times a week. Do you want to have a relationship? And it was just that reaching out to build that relationship, and then that is increasing her profit because she's selling those microgreens to him.
Well, increasing that, and then also you get that whole synchronistic marketing thing going where when somebody's eating that avocado toast and they say, oh, I never thought of putting microgreens on here, he says, you can walk right across the aisle and buy microgreens from her.
Yep.
Buy them from that farmer. And the farmer, same thing. What do I do with these microgreens? Well, you can do all kinds of things. You can put them on salads. You can put them on top of a casserole. You could put them on avocado toast. See that guy over there? Go try that out and see if you like that. So that throwing customers back and forth across the aisle is so effective.
So effective, and it's just another, goal to have as a business because it will increase your profit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
So, yeah, simple. You're already there.
It's not like taking on a whole nother venture or like spending a day doing deliveries. It's like, how can you simplify these increased profit ideas that you have?
Have your customers right there where you can see them.
For sure.
Make sure they're using your stuff.
To make a plan and make a little list.
Yeah.
Make a relationship with this person, and then you can go check and
I love
check that off.
That she had a goal to have 2 prepared food vendors use her stuff. That's great because it's exciting to cross stuff off.
Exactly.
Right?
Wake up. Check.
Brush my teeth. I'm going to put that on my list right now so I can cross it off.
Record podcast. I'm going to check that off. I wrote that on my list today.
Was it on your list? Okay.
Yes.
I'll take that off for today.
Yeah.
Another thing you want to be doing this time of year, really critical in this particular time on the calendar, is if you use sponsors at your market to manage your budget. Sponsorship is one of the sources of income that you need to make everything work. This is the time to be reaching out to people because we're not the only ones doing next year budgeting this time of year. When you get into late September, early October, that's when people are closing down their budgets, especially at big companies.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try and get a sponsorship from a bank or a credit union or from a healthcare organization or one of those guys that has a big staff, they all have to present, hardcore budgets. They have stockholders. They have people that they answer to. And so a lot of them do annual budgets that are getting closed down right now before the holidays start. So end of the year, they know what they spent last year. They know what they need to spend next year. They're writing sponsorship checks or making sponsorship commitments right now. And if you wait until January or February to ask them to sponsor your market that happens next March through October, their budget's already gone.
Yeah.
It's spent. They don't have anything left in their pool. So this is the time that you really want to get out to them.
Exactly. And a lot of those big companies, I know market managers and are afraid to kind of ask. They have this budget. Like I know credit unions. My husband works with credit unions and he tells me they have a budget that they have to use for community outreach and community events, they have to use the whole thing. It's like board directed.
It's in the charter. Well, and sometimes it's in the actual banking charter for the state that banks and credit unions have to do a certain amount of community support as their mission.
So explain to them how your market benefits the community, and explain to them how many people you can get their logo and information in front of at the farmers market because of all your foot traffic. Can you hang your banner in your music booth or at your info booth? Those kind of things. And then, they have to spend that money. So why not spend it with you? A farmers market, that is like the community event.
For sure. Mm-hmm. I was just talking to somebody in a group, kind of a listserv thing that I'm on with other market managers, and she was saying she can't get sponsors. She knows that she can't go look for sponsors because she's not a 501(c)(3). Well, there are some big companies that are only going to give you money as a donation sponsorship, and you do have to be a nonprofit for that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of big companies that have a certain amount of money that they donate to cooperative marketing that is going to people that are not 501(c)(3)s. Any kind of event that's happening, any other business that they think makes sense as a marketing partnership, if you talk to them not about the value of sponsoring you as a charitable donation, but as about the value of sponsoring you as a piece of their marketing budget, that this is going to get them out in front of a bunch of people that probably have the same values. Your demographic that's looking for healthy food is looking for this healthy lifestyle product. A lot of those folks will sponsor you without you being a nonprofit.
Yep.
So there's a lot of marketing-based sponsorship money out there that you can go after right now.
Absolutely. And the list is endless. Think of anything health related. That's a million things,
Lifestyle, homestyle related. People that frequent farmers markets as shoppers a lot of times are really interested in just making their lives healthier and more charming, more Instagram worthy.
So many. So maybe your budget plan includes putting your heads together with your staff or with a trusted group of people that you have and just brainstorming a list of people that you can ask for sponsorship money.
Yeah, for sure. Makes such a difference to how you run your market.
Yeah, definitely.
We see a lot of people at Intense, the Farmers Market Conference. The last couple of years, we've always had some sessions on planning and how important it is, whether it's Charlotte Smith talking about planning your newsletters months in advance and being able to put those out in a way that makes sense with the season and what people are thinking about when they receive them, or Farmers Market Coalition talking about making your plans for travel and education and for celebrating Farmers Market Week and for hitting certain milestones. And Stephanie, remember, from Dickinson Farm, and she works with the Small Business Development Group, came out and did a really good session on budgeting. And you don't have to be a factory. You can be a farm. You can be a pickle maker. You can be a farmer's market manager. Those spreadsheets are still important. Learn how to use that Excel, that Google Sheet thing, and lay out your income and look at what you can prioritize if you can only hit so many efforts during the year. So all of that stuff's important. Allie Ball has really good planning and budgeting spreadsheets for food makers.
Yep.
She was at the conference in February. She might be back next year. So, yeah. What do they say? Plan to fail, or fail to plan to fail, something along those lines. What's that old saying? So planning, budgeting, it's all really important.
Yeah, and if you're kind of feeling lost in this, it's a good point about Stephanie. Find your small business development group in your city or wherever you are. Or SCORE, or some kind of, there's online tools. Sarah Delavan has a lot of food cost sheets and stuff. So there's just tools available to make this easier for you. It doesn't have to be a big complicated thing. You don't need to hire some top dog accountant to come in and crunch your numbers. Just get these worksheets and just fill them out. You're going to learn so much about your business, and you're going to figure out tools and ideas to help you as you move forward.
Right.
Because we're not doing this. This is like the half Charlotte Smith podcast. But I remember something she said at our conference. I think it was 2 years ago, and she said if I wanted to sit around and waste my time, I'd be doing it on a beach in Hawaii.
Right,
I'm not farming this hard. I'm not showing up at the market every week with my tent. I'm not spending hours and hours on social media to be wasting my time and going broke.
Not making money. Going broke.
Yeah, going broke. Yeah,
go broke on the beach.
Yeah, that's right. Go broke on the beach if you want to. But if you're going to be working this hard, don't go broke.
Yeah.
Make some money.
Yeah, make a plan.
It's fine. It's fine to make money. We have to tell people it's okay to make money at a farmer's market.
That's really, I think, my core message right now. It's okay to value what you do, value your time and your efforts and your knowledge, and make money from it. That's all right.
That's okay.
You can still be doing good things for the world.
Yeah.
You can still be feeding people better. And it's okay to value your time and efforts and make money from it too. So you can be comfortable.
Exactly.
That's
we
right.
tell people all the time when they ask us, new vendors want to talk to us for a long time about how do I get started as a farmer's market? Da-da-da. And I'm like, well, we have this class. We have some online materials coming out. We have a conference. And they're like, yeah, but you already know it. Just tell me. Just take your time and tell me. And I go, no, I have learned over the years. My time is very valuable. I do not owe it to you. I do not owe it to anyone else asking because I've taken the time to learn all this stuff. I have packaged it nicely for you to pay a small fee to learn. So
well, and it's
value
because
yourself.
you have only so many hours and minutes in the day. So
exactly.
anything you say yes to automatically means you're saying no to something else.
Precisely.
Because when you get to the end of the day, you're out of time.
And I can't say no to making the map for the market because then no one's going to have a good time. I can't say no to making the roster because then my numbers aren't going to balance at the end.
Can't say no to doing the social media posts for today so that people show up at the market tomorrow.
That's right. So there's lots of things I have to say yes to. I don't have to say yes to every request. I'm fine with helping people, but really making a plan to value your time, that's a good plan to make.
Yep. Absolutely.
So take pride in that, and it's okay to ask for money for your valuable tools that you have to offer.
For sure.
So whether that be pickles or radishes or your management skills as a manager.
Yeah, so, knowledge, access to your shoppers if you're talking to a sponsor.
Exactly.
It's okay to value that.
Yes, exactly. So don't undercut that.
Yeah.
Don't undercut that for yourself. So
it's important.
It's so important. We're here to help you, remind you of that, right? Write this down.
Absolutely.
All right.
What's our question of the week, Brijet?
While we're doing our budget planning,
yes.
which we do rather frequently, actually,
we do.
because we need to. Our jobs are ever changing. As soon as we all get all settled in some kind of business or another, Kat has a new idea, so we have to budget for that.
That's a scary sound, isn't it?
Yep.
My voice saying, I have an idea.
I have an idea. We all run and hide. We call it a cockamamie idea at first. Sometimes they're cockamamie and sometimes they're fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing. Every once in a while, they're fabulous. But you're correct. And we've got year-round rain or shine markets, plus the education stuff that we do. So there's not really a particular time that we plan and budget because we're having to do it constantly because we don't really have that break.
Yeah. It's not a break.
It's not a break. Okay. All right.
So what are we adding to, or what do you hope to add to your budget?
What do I hope to add to the budget?
Yep.
Well, for the markets, I think what I would really like to add to the budget this year, and I know there's systems for this, and Chris Quinn will be on the phone to me in 2 minutes. Get ready for the phone to ring. I want to add an online payment system to our markets.
For vendor fees.
For vendor fees. That's what I want to do this year. And it's not that there is no cost to this because no way to get around it. There is a cost to it because when people start using credit cards and things, there's going to be a processing fee. And so when you take that for one fee for 1 week, it's not a big deal, but when you add up all of our vendors and farmers and you put them together, and then I have to go back and present to the business improvement district that I work for, that the market is a fundraiser for in addition to its other goals.
Yeah.
I got to explain why I want to spend this much money on processing fees in order to move some of those payments online. So that's definitely a budget thing, and it's something that has to be justified, and we have to figure out where does that money come from? Does it cost us less staff? Does it mean we're bringing payroll down? How are we making those fees balance out with something else? Do we find another sponsor that brings in some income that'll cover the cost of those processing fees in that system? But I think it's really important. So that's what we're working on adding to the budget. Excellent. In my mind this year. How about you? What do you want to see us add to our budget? A raise, maybe, but
I wouldn't want a raise. But well, I know how to make my own raises, and this is something I want to do too. Is I would like to get another some more help with accounting stuff. Just and it's very simple accounting. Counting EBT vouchers and stuff. I know I've said it before. Counting that stuff in and out. Calculating on the rosters and stuff, just because that is not rocket science. It needs to be done by somebody who understands the system of managing a farmer's market, but it can be taught. And then if that person is doing that, I can sell a sponsorship.
Right.
I can go get a sponsorship. Right. I can go get other vendors. I'm good at recruiting and retaining vendors, which is money, translates to money for us, and getting sponsors, which translates to money. Social media translates to money,
which brings in more customers.
So I have those skills to bring in the money, but I spend my valuable time doing counting and things like that, which just needs to get done. But I would like to squeeze in the budget a little bit, someone to do that for me so that I can bring in those other sources of income. So I feel like that's a really common thing with market managers too. We're trying to do it all.
Sure.
But then if we have to do this nuts and bolts stuff or else the markets don't operate. And so we don't have time left over to do all that extra stuff that would really generate higher revenue.
Quote unquote extra stuff like bringing in sponsorships, which covers so much.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, finding that balance. What can you and your schedule handle? What can you and the staff handle? Like getting our staff all on the same page about that kind of stuff too. So
there's some old, spend money to make money wisdom there.
Definitely.
Yeah. You don't have to do every single thing yourself, and maybe somebody else would be better at it, frankly.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. My expertise is not in accounting. Let me tell you that.
Really? I haven't noticed that.
I mean, I can count, but it's just not where my passion lies.
That's a good goal for you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, for all of us. I think that's a good goal.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Find where our passion is. So.
All right. So everybody out there, think about that. What's your goal next year? What do you want to add to your budget that will maybe take some money out of your pocket initially, but will free you up to bring more money in the long run and make your market financially sustainable? That's what we're all after.
We're ready. 2020, we're ready for you.
That's right. Bring it.
Hey, thanks so much for listening today. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you find this podcast, and tell us how you liked today's episode. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss the next one. And if you want more farmers market tips, tricks, and information, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter at farmersmarketpros.com and follow us on Instagram at farmersmarketpros. Watch for upcoming Farmers Market Pros events, both live and online, and take advantage of early bird tickets for the 2020 Intense the Farmers Market Conference right now. Regular price for the 3-day conference is $355, and early bird price is $235. So you save over $100 by planning ahead and getting your ticket right now. Three's Company tickets are an even better deal, so bring a couple friends, and we are looking forward to seeing all of you there. This podcast is produced by the Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded by Adam Samaha and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead.